Hi, and welcome to A Little Bit Scattered, episode 5. I'm Becky, and I'm coming to you from Portland, Oregon. And thank you for watching. I really appreciate you stopping by, and I'm excited to share with you what's been going on this week in my world, and especially in my knitting and dyeing and spinning world. So I have my Vancouver cup full of tea right now because my husband and I took a couple days last week and drove up to Vancouver, BC, and spent 3 days and 2 nights in the city. And it was so fun. It was just a great little getaway. My husband had never been to BC because he's originally from, he was born in California, Southern California, and then his family moved out to Florida, I think when he was like in 4th grade. And so he really grew up in Florida. And so he'd never even been to the northwest part of the country before he met me. And so we've been here almost 10 years, and he's like, hey, I'd actually like to go visit Canada. And it's so nice. I mean, it's kind of funny. It's one of those things when you live so close to something. I mean, it's only a 6-hour drive, which isn't bad. It kind of reminds me of, a little bit of like in Europe where you can just kind of travel to another country. So we drove up and it was nice weather. My biggest concern is that it's easy. So Vancouver is a pretty rainy city as well. So is Seattle, so is Portland. I mean, that's kind of what we're known for, which I love. I love the rain because it makes everything green. But Vancouver, BC is so beautiful. It reminds me a little bit, if any of you have been to Banff in Canada, it's got mountain ranges, really jaggedy kind of mountain ranges everywhere you look. Like 360, you just turn around and there's mountains everywhere. And so, but if it's rainy, you can't see the mountains. It's kind of like what my brother talks about the Alps, because he lives in Germany, but right near the Swiss border. He's like, if it's a good day, if it's clear, you can see the Alps, but if it's cloudy, you can't. And that's how it is with Vancouver. And so it was not crystal clear, but the clouds were high enough that we could see the mountains, and it was just a beautiful drive up. And I love road trips like that because I get to knit a lot if I can convince my husband to drive. I'm typically the driver just because I love to drive, but I love to knit more. So he was willing to drive a big chunk of the ride up so that I could knit. However, I ended up making a mistake, and I ended up doing a lot of unknitting, which is so discouraging because there's this big chunk of time, and I wanted to, make all this progress, and ended up just unknitting instead of knitting. But it still was just so fun just to see the beautiful scenery and drive up there. And then we just kind of left our schedule open. We walked around downtown, cute shops, cute restaurants. We were able to walk through Stanley Park, which was really pretty. And yeah, then we drove home. And it's nice because our kids are at an age where we can leave them at home for a couple days, and they are pretty self-sufficient and can take care of themselves in terms of, getting themselves to school and back. And I did make a couple of meals for them so they didn't have to figure out how to cook. And my husband's parents took them out to dinner one night too. So yay, grandparents. But anyway, that's been really fun. So I was able to actually finish a project with all that driving time. And so I wanted to show you start with my finished objects. I only have one finished object because it's been, what has it been? It's been a little over a week. So the last time I did a video was last Saturday because I was sick the following Tuesday. So I wanted to get back on the Tuesday schedule. So it's been a little bit over, which is good because it gave me time to finish this. So if you've been watching, the sweater that I really wanted to make for this fall/winter is this Avalanche sweater by Heidi Kermer. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. And it's a bulky weight yarn and a top-down seamless sweater with little cables on the side. And then this fun lace work pattern that's kind of lace work / cable. I mean, it's not a cable, but it kind of, I don't know, it kind of knits up like one. Just a great, I think a great style, a great design. So I purchased Knit Picks bulky, just their Wool of the Andes bulky, just so reasonable. I'm bad at remembering numbers, so I'm not gonna. It's just a great price for a skein of bulky yarn. I mean, it's really, really reasonable. So I needed 8 skeins, and I purchased the what's this colorway? Caribou colorway, and just a good brown caramely color, more caramely. That's going to be just great and go with everything. I'm imagining this is going to end up being a very staple sweater in my wardrobe. So here it is. I still have strings attached. I have not blocked it. I literally finished it this morning. So, but here it is. Still even have my markers here from my last sleeve. So I love it. It turned out great. One of the things I like most about it when I tried it on is in the pattern you do a lot of short rows to create a little bit of a scoop. It's not scooped at all, but it's enough that it doesn't feel like it's right there. I really like that. I really like how the pattern turns out in the middle. I love the raglan sleeves and the longer. I like kind of a big border, or what do you call this? Totally blanking. It'll come to me. Anyway, I love how, I love how just it's really classic, basic design. It's heavy, so it'll be nice and warm. So I'm really pleased with how that turned out. I kind of knew when I started on it that I was going to love it. And that's stayed true the whole time I've knit it. And the reason why I had to unknit is we were listening to a podcast and I lost track and I went too early on one of these. I didn't catch it in time. So I had to go back, which was a bummer, but it wasn't complicated. It was just, I wasn't concentrating. So that is my one finished object. And then, let's see. So part of last week, it was a busy week last week because we traveled, came back, and we came back in time because our 2 oldest children had homecoming this week, or this last weekend, last Saturday. So Friday night was the homecoming game, which our youngest and eldest went to the game. And then Saturday night was homecoming, which our oldest and our middle children ended up going to homecoming. So it was a lot of like ironing dress, and my son got a fun new shirt and tie. And so I ironed that and kind of getting everything ready. And then our oldest, who is our daughter, we have a daughter and two sons, and she's 17, then 15 and 12. And so she invited all of her friends back to our house after the dance. And so, you know, I think she told us that everybody was coming over as she was leaving, as we're taking pictures. So we're like, oh, I guess we'll go to the store and get some snacks, which we did. And then I decided, so this is kind of typical of me. So, and fits with the title of my video of A Little Bit Scattered, because I kind of just get inspired, and if I have the energy, I'll do it. So I was thinking, okay, all our friends are going to come back. They're going to come back late, maybe watch a movie, play games, whatever. And then they'll probably want to spend the night. To which I was thinking, oh, okay, I want to have something for breakfast for them in the morning. And I've tried to like make them breakfast previously on other overnights. That doesn't work as well. So I just thought I would have something ready for them. And so I thought, I want to make cinnamon rolls. So I found a great recipe if you want to just Google overnight cinnamon rolls, the one on the Food Network by Alton Brown. Is that right? For some reason, that doesn't sound right. Alton. Yeah, maybe that's it. He has a great recipe. You basically make the dough. You have to let it rise for 2.5 hours. And then you just roll it out, put basically cinnamon, brown sugar, roll them up, cut them up, put them in a like 8.5 by 11 pan or dish. And then you stick them in the refrigerator overnight. And then in the morning, I just got up and you let them rise for another 30 minutes and then bake them for another, I think it was like 20 or 30 minutes. So it was really easy in the morning. So I just got up, did that, and then had made the little cream cheese frosting for the top, and then just had them ready for the kids when they woke up. And so that was great, and it turned out great. So all of that to say, while we were shopping, actually we were shopping for our middle son's clothes for the dance on Saturday. We were shopping on Friday because that's more typical. Like, of course, my daughter and I went shopping the weekend before, but boys and girls are so different, at least in our family. She thinks ahead. He just kind of last minute, but gets it done. So I'm always impressed with that. So as he and my husband were shopping, there's a Tuesday morning right next door. So I just had to pop in and see if they had any yarn, which they did. The first thing that was exciting, I think I only have one cake. So I've said in the past when I started dyeing, I ended up finding some Shepherd's Own worsted weight bear wool at Tuesday morning. And so I think Shepherd's Own I think they went out of business. And so they must have just shipped all of their different yarns that they had to Tuesday mornings. And so I kind of raided all the Tuesday mornings and got their bear wool to practice dyeing on, because I thought, well, this is fairly inexpensive. It's good wool. It's 100% wool. And it's a good way to just test and practice my dyeing. So I did that. And I think I cleaned out every Tuesday morning within, 5-mile radius. I went to probably 3 or 4 stores. And I went to this Tuesday morning on Friday and found some more. So, of course I snatched it up. So I don't have the label, but this is just their bare wool. Now they had two kinds. They had like the lighter, creamier kind, and then this is more like a little browner, grayer. And so I had 5 skeins of this. So I was super excited to find that because I would love to dye more of that. While I was there, I also found, again, I think, okay, so Shepherd's Own is, the company I think is it Fiber? I'm not sure what the company name is. So Fiber Natura. So there's been several of these too, and I think it's all the same company. So anyway, I found this Inca tweed, and let's see what the colorway is. Sometimes they have colors and sometimes they don't. I don't see a color name on here. It might just be black. So it's a dark with a gray tweedy, really pretty. I had been looking at my Ravelry page, and our middle son's birthday is on the 19th of October. And I thought, I'm going to be finishing this cable sweater, the Avalanche sweater. So I think the next sweater, I'm going to bump my other one that I was thinking about doing for myself, and I'd like to make him a sweater. So again, in my scattered way, I thought, they had plenty of this. So they had, I think 10. So there's 106 yards, and I got 10 skeins. And great prices too, like $6.99 a skein, which is amazing. They said here normally $14.99. I don't know how true those are, but so anyway, so I thought, I had an idea of what kind of sweater I wanted to make. So I grabbed all of those, and then so I'll show you let me just show you the pattern. So the pattern that he liked, I showed him lots. There's not, I don't know if you find this to be true, but there's not a lot of men or young men, like high school, college age men's sweaters. Yeah, there's not a lot of men's sweaters. So it was kind of hard to find something, but I found this one, and I kind of had a feeling he would like this one, but I gave him a lot of other choices, so he saved a bunch. But this is the one he really liked. And it is the Chimney Sweater by Elizabeth it's double E, so it looks like Stinks. Steenks. And she just translated it into English in February of this year. So it's fairly, it looks like it's been out in Swedish or maybe Norwegian. I don't remember. But everybody was saying, please do this in English, and all the notes and comments. And so she did. And so I'm really excited. He really likes this. So that's what I was thinking when I picked up this tweed. I thought, that would be fun to do the tweed for the dark part and then find a kind of a more neutral color. Well, I get home, and this calls for a yarn that is worsted weight. Actually, Aran and worsted in my mind are close enough, so I feel like I can kind of fudge it. The problem is I didn't have my glasses when I picked up this yarn, and I was just kind of going by feel, and I thought it felt like worsted. And yet when I got it home, it's bulky. So that ended up changing everything. So then I was thinking, okay, picked up 5 skeins of these. I'm going to dye 3 of them, the darker color, And then I'm going to keep the other two for the neutral. And the yardage works out. So this is going to be the bottom. And then I asked him, took him all my little color samples of dye and asked him what he wanted. And he picked this. This is just the true black. And he wanted the darkest version of this. So for those of you who don't know, I spent a whole weekend making little samples of all my dyes, and I hung them up on the wall back there. I also did fiber samples, and I wanted to get a range of colors for each of my dyes. So let's see. Let me show this better. Sorry that it's going in and out. So that gives you, like, I can pull all of those colors from this dye, and it just kind of gives me a good, I'm very visual, so it really is helpful for me to imagine how to dye this. So he wanted kind of the darker side of this one. So great. So I dyed 3 of the skeins. Here's the first skein that I dyed. So it's not, when I hold it up close to the camera, it gets lighter. It's not black. I mean, obviously, my turtleneck is black, and this is more of a dark gray. I wouldn't even say it's a charcoal. It's not even that dark. It's probably one step up from a charcoal gray. And that is, I could have dyed it again, but I thought, you know what, I like this. And he likes a lot of grays. He wears a lot of gray t-shirts. And so I thought this will work. It's not as dark as in the picture, but I think he'll like this. The only problem is, so I dyed that first skein. Here's my second skein. And if you can see, very similar. I mean, when you hand dye, you can't be exact. I do recipes. I follow the recipe exactly. My third skein, and I'm not sure why, but turned out the red in the black, because black has a lot of red in it, came out really almost pinky red. And I was like, oh, that doesn't work. So then I decided, okay, I'm going to dye that one again. And I knew it was going to come out darker, but so I want to compare. So this is the darker, the dyed twice. And then this is the dyed once. So the difference, there is a difference clearly, but it's much better than it was. I mean, this was really pinky red color. I don't know if it's the base that was so different, or, you know, I followed my recipe exactly. So I'm not sure what the variable was to create the difference. But now I have this kind of darker, I have 2 very similar kind of grays, and then I have this darker, and this is more of a charcoaly gray. So my plan is I'm going to put these both into cakes, and then I'm going to swap out. So like one row, it's in the round, it's seamless. I'm going to swap out 1 or maybe 2 rows. I'll kind of play with it of the lighter, and then 1 row of the darker, and then 1 row of the lighter. I don't know how stripy that will look. I'm just going to play with it and see what I can do to kind of blend these two. I'm hoping it will turn out okay. If not, I'll just have to scrap it and go for another option again. But that's my plan. I've started to already knit it up. This is just the first part. And you can see with my hand dyeing, there's some variation to it. So it's already going to have some variation, lighter parts and darker. And so then I'm hoping it will just be kind of darker, but we'll see. And I'll show you. It's always fun to kind of experiment. So then I was thinking, okay, so now what am I going to do with this? So I mentioned last time that there was 2 sweaters I was trying to decide on what I wanted to knit. And the first sweater was the Avalanche, which I just finished. And the second sweater was the Sunday Cardigan by Petite Knits. And to show you again, that sweater, whoops. Sorry. Try to get it in focus there. Super cute. So, and I had gotten yarn for it. It was this Wallaby, the same bulky yarn, Wool of the Andes from Knit Picks, but it was a lot greener. Again, it's hard to tell. It looks like a gray green. And then I was going to pair it with just like a mohair, really like lace mohair. Then I was thinking, okay, why go to all that work when this would be beautiful for that pattern? So I'm changing my mind, and I'm going to do this for the Sunday Cardigan by Petite Knits, and I think that will turn out great. And I love these colors, and it doesn't have as much, a little bit of a halo, not as much, but I still like, I think because of the tweediness, it's gonna give the same kind of look that I'm looking for. So that takes care of that. And then the other thing I found at Tuesday morning while I was there, I kind of made a haul. So my son, I wanted to knit a sweater for. And then it's kind of funny. I never thought I would be kind of one of these people who wanted to knit my dog a sweater, but we have a black lab and she hates the rain, and we live in Portland, so we're always going for walks in the rain, and she just doesn't like it at all. And so I thought, well, I'm going to knit her a little sweater cover so that it doesn't bother her as much to be in the rain, or at least the hope. So here's a sweater for a dog. I know, it sounds crazy, but I think it would really help. And I've seen other people around when I'm walking my dog, like I've seen little, almost like little rain jackets for them, which I've also thought about, but then I thought it would be kind of fun to knit one. And wool, obviously with sheep, it keeps the rain out. So it also called for a bulky yarn. Let me tell you who this is by. So this is called the Ozzie Large Dog Sweater by Jenna Greer. And it's on Ravelry. And yeah, I mean, she did it in a stripe, but I was thinking I'll just stay really basic. So I found, what you can find at Michael's or Joann's, the Patton's Classic Wool Bulky. But I found it at Tuesday morning, so it was like $3.99. And because our dog is black, I think this will be really pretty on her. So I got enough to make that sweater for her. And so that's kind of the latest, latest projects that I'm going to be working on since I took this little side trip to Tuesday morning. Sometimes I go and there's nothing, it's typically when I'm actually looking for something that I go and I can't find anything there that would work. And then it's usually when I just pop in because I'm there, that I end up finding all of this stuff. But it was great. It was a great find. I'm excited to see how this dyed wool turns out for my son's sweater. I don't know if I said enough about the chimney sweater. It's top down seamless which is another thing that limited my search for men's sweater. I love Jared Flood's men's sweaters, but most of them are seamed, and I can just knit a lot faster, and the project will be finished sooner if it's a seamless top down. Plus, I'm not sure about my son's size, so it will be nice to be able to kind of try it on him as I progress. And yeah, I'm setting I have a calendar up here, although I haven't even changed it from September to October. That's how busy I've been. So his birthday's on the 19th. What's today? Today is the 8th. So I've got to get cooking on this, but this will be my next project. I'm kind of putting my other two, I work on 3 projects at once, or I limit myself to just 3. I've been working on the bow cowl that I've shown you over the last few podcasts, and still haven't knit on that. And then what's the other one? Oh, the Afghan. I haven't touched that as well this last week. I just focused on the Avalanche sweater, and I just knit that. I figured it took, with all the stuff going on, it took a little over a week, maybe like 11 days, 12 days. I write down when I start my sweaters on my calendar. So I have a calendar. It's one of those calendars that are, it's like a kind of like a whiteboard, but it's sticky paper, whiteboard. You can write on it with whiteboard markers, and you can just paste it to the wall, which is awesome. And then you can just erase it and change it for the next month. So I always jot down on my calendar when I start projects, just because when I'm going to put them, hopefully put them in Ravelry and take pictures of them and get them in there. I like to be able to look back and say, okay, I started it here and I ended it here. So I had it written that I started the Avalanche sweater on the 27th of September, and I just finished it today. So whatever that is, it's a week and a half maybe. But the funny thing is my daughter ended up erasing that, and she wrote something about a sweater she started on the 27th. So thanks, Riley, for erasing my sweater start. And I think she must have like accidentally done that, and then she thought, oh no, I need to something about a sweater she started. Yeah, well, that's enough information. So so that took me about a week. I'm just going to focus on my son's sweater, so I'm not even going to put the pressure on myself to work on those other 2 projects at all, because I really want to try to get this done for his birthday. And if that switching the yarn doesn't end up working, I'm going to have to start with another yarn. And so I want to give myself enough time to do that. So that's going to be my main focus. I think what else? So yeah, it's just, I wanted to talk to you about our chickens. So we have chickens, and we started, so I've always wanted chickens, and in our city, so we're we're kind of a suburb of Portland. Although in Portland, in all the cities, you can have chickens. So I love that. I love that about Portland. Like, the urban farmer thing is really big here. So you don't have to live in the country to have chickens. You do. It's limited. There are limits to like larger animals like goats or cows, obviously. But with chickens, there's just a limit of like you have to have your coop a certain amount of feet away from your neighbors. And so as long as you follow those guidelines, then you're good. When our oldest daughter, who's 17, was in 5th grade, her teacher, they hatched some eggs, and her teacher sent out an email and said, hey, once we hatch these eggs into little chicks, is there anyone willing to take the chicks? Because, she didn't want to raise chickens. And so I think I either emailed her or told my daughter. Anyway, I was just going to take one or two, but it turned out nobody else wanted them. And so we got them all. I'm trying to think. I don't remember how many, like, I think maybe 5 or 6 hatched, but then a couple of them died. So I think we ended up getting 3 or 4. Gosh, I can't even remember. But that's where we started, when we started chickens. We got a little chicken coop, got our chickens, figured out how to raise them. You start with them in your home in a, like, basically in a tub or box. And then as they grow, then you eventually take them out to the coop. And so that's been so fun. The fresh eggs, some people have a hard time with fresh eggs, and I get that. But for us, we have loved the fresh eggs. Like, the difference in fresh eggs versus what you buy or what we buy at the store, to me, is huge. Some people can't tell. But for me, like, even just I'll crack a fresh egg versus a store-bought egg, and the color is just so different. The whites are clear. Yeah, it's so great. So since then I've like, I just always want to have chickens and have those fresh eggs. So since then chickens lay eggs for about 4 years, and then they stop laying. And then you have to buy new chickens, and then, keep kind of keeping the chickens. And so we're on our third, this spring was our third kind of round of chickens. So we purchased just the little baby chicks. And I'm trying to think. We started with 5, and 1 died. And then we had 4. So now we have 4, and they're almost ready to start laying. Like, they're about the right age to start laying, which I'm so excited. We have one of the older ones from the previous, like, 4 years ago. She's still laying, but she's laying more sparsely. So she lays maybe once every 3 days, 4 days. Her name's Bobby, and she's all black. She's beautiful. And the bright red, whatever you call those things. And then we got these 5, and then 1 died. So we have these 4. And then this morning I heard this very strange sound, and I looked out the window, and one of those chickens is a rooster. It was trying to do its little cock-a-doodle-doo thing. It didn't sound at all like it. Like, it's like an adolescent trying to figure out how to, like, its voice is changing, but you could tell, like, it was flapping its wings, and you could just tell, oh my goodness, it's a rooster. So when you buy chicks, they do tell you, they do try to just give you all females, so that, you don't have a rooster, because you don't need, unless you want to raise chicks, you don't need the eggs to be fertilized. So we've always had good luck at always just getting females, but this year, for whatever reason, we ended up getting a rooster. And I think just because they're ready, like, the girls are ready to lay eggs, I think that's probably the same time where the rooster starts learning how to do its rooster thing at, like, the sun rises about 7 a.m. So that's about the time he now was trying to do his little wake everybody up in the neighborhood. So yeah, I'm trying to find a farm to give him to, because I don't want to have a rooster, and I don't want to disturb our neighbors with a rooster every morning. So yeah, it's been quite the chicken adventure. So now that's going to take us down to 3, which is a little disappointing, because I love having as many eggs as possible. But once they start laying, we got all good egg layers. The ones I picked were because they lay a lot of eggs. So we should still be able to get quite a few, but yeah, it's just kind of disappointing. So that was the exciting news of the day. So yeah, we'll be down to three new ones and one of the old ones. So we'll be down to 4 chickens. And I don't know how much longer Bobby's going to lay. So we may just have 3 layers for the winter, but it's still better than nothing. So that's on the chicken front. This week looks a little less crazy. The kids have Friday off because it's Veterans Day. So that's going to be nice. We'll all have a 3-day weekend together because my husband and I don't work on Fridays. And that's just always that's our day to kind of do the business work around the house, like bills and all the things that we just need to take care of that doesn't get done during a work week. So it's going to be nice to have the kids home, and we'll just I'd love to go for a hike if the weather's nice or something, do something special. And then, I'm just going to plan on knitting this chimney sweater. So I'll let you know about that. And then, I don't know if I'll have time to do any more dyeing. Just getting all the dyeing stuff out again is just very inspirational for me. So I do have 2 skeins of DK that I could dye up. So I might try that when I need a break from the knitting. And I think that's it. So again, if you love listening, if you like, you don't have to love it. If you like listening to my videos, please subscribe. I would love to just get more subscribers. I said last time that my goal is to actually get enough subscribers that I can take my mobile phone and then I can show you the chickens and I can show you kind of their coop and what it looks like when they lay the eggs. It's so funny how they all lay in one place. They all kind of stack on top of each other. I'd love to show you the design work we've done around our home. So please subscribe if this is something that you enjoy. Or just like or comment. I'd love to hear from you and just kind of get your feedback on these videos and what you like, what you don't like. But most of all, I just hope you are enjoying your day, and I hope the rest of your week goes well. And I will see you next week. All right, take care.